I just gamified tracking my browsing history in the sickest way possible.
Part 1. All I wanted to know was where I was spending my time online and for how long in a fun way. So I built this extension where every time I go to sit down and use my computer, it turns each digital period into a fantasy quest. First, I had to define the fantasy locations of what each website was going to be called. For example, websites like YouTube or Netflix where we go to for entertainment, I called the Bard's Theatre. But for this extension, I was the primary user. So I designed these fantasy locations around areas of the internet that I frequented. To do this, I created a separate JavaScript file in my project folder where I hard-coded most of the websites that I frequent the most. Websites where I was learning about how to build tech, I called that the Iron Forges. Where I was seeking knowledge, I called the Grand Library. But eventually, I got it working pretty well so that every time I visited a website that was under a fantasy location, I would get a fun message with a pixelated fantasy location. Except sometimes I would still end up in places where I hadn't hard-coded. So what happened then? I was officially lost in the wilds. Stay tuned for part 2.